I have done some other commissioning jobs. And I'm a doctoral candidate on disability studies.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm Taylor Kinney. I'm the project manager for RSA with DDS.
Hello, everyone. I'm Donald Clark, Program Development Specialist with DDS, also the liaison between SRC.
Good morning. My name is Aman Sangera. I'm the Performance Data Manager for DDS.
So, unlike Everett, who has not signed this round, we can then move over to number 2, Commission on Persons with Disabilities.
And I'm sorry, just to jump in, just to give some people background how we engaged with you, is that I actually went to one of the commission's meetings, and after leaving the meeting, it was a very productive meeting, and they had a lot of good feedback on how to support people with disabilities in the district. Went to the website, and actually I saw that the commission actually has a lot of goals that intersect with the SRC and what the SRC does. Of course, starting with employment, obviously, but there's so much more that goes into effectively, supporting someone to gain employment, such as transportation, such as assistive technology, and how those supports can fill the gaps to make sure they not only obtain employment, but sustain their jobs. So I thought it was a no-brainer. I talked to Jonathan, and he agreed that we should definitely try to bring you to the table and see what you're doing, and also see where there's potential for us to collaborate.
Well, like I said, thank you so much for having me, and then that's just a real brief overview of things that we do with DCCPD. And we have a great team, 13 commissioners currently on board. We also have an advisory group of parents and community advocates that also help and work with us as far as to doing community outreach. I think where I really wanted to start here, and please feel free to jump in with any questions, or I kind of like things to be an open discussion, is kind of moving forward. You kind of know what we do, you know what you do. Where can we intersect with regards to our programs, with regards to our calendar, with regards to where can we make the most impact with regards to reaching out to the community and touching the people that actually need this information, need those services. Just this past week, we were down at Pride, which was the first time they actually had a disability table, which was wonderful. And that started from me bang on their door the year before. So it's a process. Mm-hmm. Saying, okay, love Pride, this is great, but your parade's not accessible. You don't have really good signage. You don't have any signage interpreters. Where are my wheelchair users? Do you think people that are LGBTQ don't have disabilities? Having that conversation. So this year we had accessibility zone for the concert, which was in the rain. Yes, which is why I have a hat. Please, ladies, it's not literally in the rain all this past weekend. We had sign language interpreters. There were places for individuals to have their seeing eye dogs to relieve themselves and have water bowls. So that's just a kind of step in the process. What I'd like to do is see more of our tables there. And they were perfectly happy to have a shared table with the information booth and bring more of that intersection in that place. Because there are places there for employment. They were hungry for the information that I was giving, which included, information about chronic conditions, information about the ADA. I don't think it is quite conveyed to all communities that HIV/AIDS is covered under the ADA, that multiple sclerosis, chronic conditions, diabetes, disability, all of that is covered. And in knowing so, you can access those issues and those services. So we talked about employment, we talked about education, we talked about housing, which typically are my wheelhouses. But they were hungry for more information with regards to job accommodations, which we also looked at. And what was the other thing that hit me? Mental health. They wanted to know a lot with regards to mental health. As you know, the new Green Alert is currently weaving its way through different states and trying to figure out the best way to have that set in place and not invade individuals' privacy. Our seniors, our service members, our former service members, because you're never really a retired service member, living with the Green Alert, if you feel that they are in need and then they go missing, they get, put out on Green Alert just like an Amber Alert. A lot of them have pulled back from that and don't want their personal business alerted. But then a lot of them come forward and said, you know what, I'm really grateful for the Green Alert because I was sitting in a hotel room that evening and somebody found me and made sure that I got home safe and didn't do harm to myself in that moment. So where do we come together to really have that conversation, explain to everybody that it is a good program, and having that whole intersectional piece. I know you guys specifically focus on employment. What the DCCPD is doing right now is looking at two things, not jobs, but careers. How do we get more mentorship programs in place when an individual comes into that job? What are we doing with soft skills? How are we getting affordable technology? Okay? I love my JAWS, I love my Zoom, but I know that that's an additional $1,000 on top of the actual laptop. And even though if you buy it in bulk with regards to the licensing, I have to get buy-in from that. And that technology has to be on the laptop that's at their office and whatever laptop they may take home. How do I get that conversation going with regards to accommodations? Telework should be something everybody should have access to at this point, and it should not be a fight. So we're having the conversation with the individual, and we're having the conversation with the employer with regards to those pieces. And where can we come together to do that? Two of the things we're looking at is frequently asked question sheet, a toolkit, and a directory of those individuals in those places that can go and provide services. We all know about Jan. They're great, but they're overrun. I think a lot of those gaps can be filled right here in the community. Having more sessions like we had at Pride, getting that word out. Having more sessions like at, I think, H Street Festival is coming up next, if I'm not mistaken, because we tried to have a booth there last year, and things got mixed up. I still went down there and handed out information, but how do we do more of that kind of intersectionality and working together with regards to our communities? And how do we make sure that we're on each other's calendars? How do we have those calendars overlap? Our big thing is obviously coordinating the Mayor's Disability Employment Expo. Where are we intersecting with that? And still trying to do some stuff on the Hill. I push every year to try and make sure that we have some sort of presence at Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton's yearly job accommodations piece. She has a huge job fair every year. And every year I'm banging on her door saying, okay, is there a table where we can, talk about Schedule A? Not that they're pushing that much in the federal government, but well, we're trying. I know that most of the agencies have a quote-unquote hiring freeze unless you come with special skills. At least that's what I've been told.
We'll talk later.
Okay. Absolutely, because I know that certain agencies are pushing it. Everybody has their own budget and how it's coming out. But yes, letting people know what Schedule A is and how it works. And then I do know the district at one point was pushing for legislation for Schedule A or a version of Schedule A to be employed here with regards to DC government hiring. So where are we with that conversation? And how can we have more of that intersection? So talk to me. Where does that all sound good? And what working group would anybody like to sit on?
I love it.
Yes.
Any feedback? I don't want to take the table, but yes, it seems like it's all great initiatives and really the outreach component and hitting all the pockets to, like you said, being creative enough to actually be, or should I say be aware enough to know that the Pride Parade is a great place to go where people need supports, don't know about supports and services, and you can touch all the gamuts of your goals. So that seems very intriguing as well. Love to hear more about the 8th Street Festival, also and see what the potential is for that. Yeah. That'd
be great. I love to share a table because the more people we have there, the more shifts that we can have covered and less burnout for everybody involved.
The Barracks Road 4th of July Parade.
I'm sorry?
The Barracks Road 4th of July Parade.
Okay. So is that the one that you guys are going to be at?
I don't know if we do.
Oh, if you do that, I'm sorry.
We have not really done that before, but I'm open to those suggestions.
Yeah, because that's also just to cross over. It's a good opportunity to do some outreach to get members.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like the idea of intersectionality, and as you're aware of, there's no one-size-fits-all approach. It doesn't work anywhere, and my question is, how do you reach out people with different ability, with different language?
Yes, we actually my co-vice chair, Dr. Sylvia Martinez, she is our language specialist. She actually works at Howard University with regards Dr. Sylvia Martinez, and I do have all the names of the commissioners and the website and such that, yes, Donald will be able to disseminate to everybody at this table. But yes, Dr. Sylvia Martinez is our language specialist. Interestingly enough, we did have a cross presentation with Howard University with regards to language and language barriers here specifically in District of Columbia, and how can we do better outreach with regards to that. Language and hearing, and we are very aware of that issue. And what we have found is that the schools and libraries are our best pockets with regards to doing critical outreach. We've also tasked the working group to come up with what I like to call, and don't claim this name as of yet because it needs to still be voted on, our informational educational ambassadors. So they go through what we call like a mini session, teach everybody about DCCPD, what is that we're doing, what you can and cannot do, and then we send them forward with information specifically to those pockets of individuals and communities that may have that language barrier, that may not feel comfortable, that may, you want somebody that can talk to you with regards to knowing what you're saying, understanding your culture, and having that intersection. So that's how we're currently reaching out and doing that approach. We also have a new listserv coming up, Facebook page, Twitter, and I am honestly pushing for more Zoom and more Google Hangouts, but I also know that there's an economic gap with regards to doing that as well. So trying to be in place of that, yes.
I heard you say that you were at the Pride.
Yes.
Which is great. We have to reach out that community.
Yeah.
But again, have you had any chance to be around the immigrant community?
Yes, we have, and that specifically works with regards to entrance into various clinics. We've had good success with that, mainly around the Adams Morgan area is where we really kind of started. We want to try and get into the Adams Morgan Parade and Festival. It's a process. It took me a year to get to Pride. Well, 2 years. Technically, to get people to know who I am, get them to understand the message that we're giving, and then they say, "Oh, it's Camilla." Just at this point, just give her what she wants because she's not going to stop. So that kind of polite persistence is what I kind of call it, is what works. But getting into the clinics, getting into Adams Morgan, getting into Chinatown, as you know, the Asian Festival is happening right now with regards to Asian American Pride Awareness Month. And Women's Awareness Month, and Black Music Awareness Month. I try and tap all those intersections because there are events happening under that umbrella, which kind of allows us an entrance where I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I don't have to create an event. I can still, have fun at yours and pass out this information. But that is what we're doing with regards to trying to reach out specifically to the immigrant community and coming with language specific and cultural specific things.
Okay, just a question.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get, or to commission, or what was the process to be able to set up like a Twitter account and Facebook page?
Okay, you see, that took 2 years as well. But yes, as you know, we are under the Office of Disability Rights. We're under ODR. So we go through our ODR liaison. I put in the proposal. That proposal was then reviewed by our liaison, Julia Woolander. That was then reviewed by our Chief of Staff, Christina Mitchell. That was then reviewed by our Director, Matt McCullough. That then sent it to the Mayor's office. Once the Mayor's office got a hold of it, they reviewed it. They came back to me with some questions with regards to what would be posted, who is going to be your fact checker on things of that nature. Do you have all the disclaimers, which we do, that need to go up on those types of accounts, those services in place? And that was a process as well. That took another 2 years. But it'll be up. But it's happening. Don't look like that. 2 years is not that long. You got a college in 4. Don't you're going to disappoint them. It's not that long.
I mean, I applaud you. You really on it. 2 years is long. There's no fun. For a Facebook page.
Sugar, if I could have found a shortcut, trust me.
It's one thing to understand that people do due diligence. But thanks for that. That's just good to know because that's never even been contemplated with our group because I never even thought that would have been possible. I was just trying to get us the ability to communicate through WhatsApp, and that was turned down.
Because of the inaccessibility of it. We had to fight that as well.
Motor concerns. Yeah, concerns, security concerns through motor.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the security concerns with regards to WhatsApp because it's free internationally. What were their concerns?
I will have to follow up again, but
I don't know.
Well, it's probably also the same reason. I'm guessing part of it has the same reason we're supposed to be using our DC government address, email addresses.
Yes.
We don't, because then if there's like a request for information, and you're going to go dig into the WhatsApp too, and maybe it's easy to delete that stuff. I don't know.
Okay.
But it seems to me that what you're doing is the right step, because we're sort of you're coming very disadvantaged if you're not communicating the way people are accustomed to communicating this day and time, especially younger folks.
And that was one of my key points. Yeah. You can get through it. You just have to kind of push through it. And the issue with Facebook, because it is not accessible, is like, I understand that, but guess what? The fact that we're doing this Facebook page has fostered a partnership with Facebook so that they kind of know the issues that we're facing. Every time you move something around, somebody like me who's living with low vision, I have to relearn your whole page again. So we put up that disclaimer, and you will get pushback from the community. It's like, do you know it's not accessible? Yes, we do. But if we take our ball and run away from the party, then they're not going to know it's not accessible.
Well, what I like to always say, it's always good to learn from someone else and lessons learned. And with that comes the potential for fast tracking some things experienced by the first group that goes through it. So maybe there can be a relationship to, reach out to you, hey, we're here.
Right.
Oh, this is what you need to do here that fast tracks the situation because you've learned the experience.
Absolutely. I'm all about sharing best practices. We've shared our best practices in a lot of interesting little things. I like the little, if I get 3 little wins, I'm usually happy. More business cards with Braille on them. That's my little win for right now. More meetings to start at 10 o'clock and always have a conference call number, because that takes encompassing the fact that individuals have children that they have to drop off. They have individuals that they might be sandwiched and have to take to a day center for their aged parent. And a lot of these day centers and school drop-offs here in the District of Columbia specifically don't open up till 8:45. And Dad, unless you're paying for before care, which is anywhere between $200 and $600 out of pocket per month, which is anybody's light bill / water bill, you're going to be late for that 9:30, 9 o'clock meeting. So little wins, little best practices. So absolutely.
And one thing I want to share that may be beneficial to you is that here DDS leads what's called the Cultural and Linguistic Competency Group. Have you been there?
I see it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So of course they're all about how do we effectively. It's the phone number to the phone. Effectively engage people from diverse backgrounds. And not only once you initially engage them, how do you continue to, there's certain cultural nuances that can potentially be the last time you see them if you don't know how to kind of check your biases at the door and be able to engage people effectively. So, that's something I can always share with you as far as the contact information. Mark Augusto, who leads that group. And it's an interagency group. So, it's an effective way to get information out across some of, for example, behavioral health or veterans affairs.
Right.
All that disability world. So, I think that's a great opportunity as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how can we work together?
Yes.
Any stretch? I don't want down there talking. Down here on this other end, is there any crossroads or any way that
any projects you want us to jump on, and I'm semi-volunteering my counsel because they know I love to volunteer somebody.
But just one thing I can add into, and I don't want to put anyone on the spot. We are working together to get more members to the SRC.
Okay.
And with that being, more members we have, the more opportunities to share resources. It's a small group right now.
Do you have levels of membership, if I may ask? Because we have advisory councils, and because I know the board has to be appointed, and that is a process which I know you're probably going to. But there are smaller levels within us that allows other people to. We found that to be very useful, very successful in getting other people on with regards to working groups and advisory committees.
That's something that we have the option
Yeah. Well, for example, I know here at DDS when we have policies, there's usually a smaller SRC committee that focuses solely on, tackling new policies, giving feedback and input, and so on and so forth as far as smaller committees within the SRC. But we have to grow first again to be able to spread it out to those committees.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then my best advice for you guys, and I will say this helped us very much. It's casting a wide net though, so you're not going to know what's going to come back. I hit up the universities, Howard in particular, at Bison. I hit up Georgetown because, as you know, I worked with their children developmental. I'm getting ready to call out a wrong acronym, but there at Georgetown.
Yeah.
Yes. With their Children Development Center. I hit up, the Sickle Cell Center at Howard University, and we got a lot of feedback from that. We also did some very strategic posting on the H Street listserv on Yahoo and the U Street listserv. And forgive me, there is another one in particular that really focuses specifically on philanthropy. It's not coming to me, Donald. I will send it to you. Okay. Forgive me. Where we did some strategic posting there. Okay. And that has actually garnered us 6 new advisory committee members. And they come to every meeting, which is great. They come, and a lot of people, because we're able to juggle it, because not everybody can show up, as you know, at 9:30 on a Thursday or at 10 o'clock on a Friday. We allow the smaller committees to set their own meeting times. If you guys want to meet Sunday at the library, great. If you guys want to meet by conference call, we gave them all their own conference call numbers as well. That's another best practice. Okay. I don't know. For us, for our main meeting, our conference call number has to go through ODR, which means it has to be coordinated, but they're using the same conference call number as a government agency. So, freeconferencecall.com is your friend. Google Hangouts is your friend. Those are all cleared by district government for use because they're free. Freeconferencecall.com, tell people do it from your cell phone because you can't incur long distance charges if you do it from a landline. But other than that, yes.
Well, the good news is I think, including 8, we have 5 potential new members coming on board. It's just getting with Moda and pushing, which I'm tasked with doing, and I don't mind doing. But, so with that being said, soon, hopefully, we will have the potential to expand and go into the committees again. Absolutely. Because Jonathan is the new chair as of, 2 meetings ago? Yeah. So we're building the capacity back up. Yeah. All right. But thank you so much for your time. It was a wealth of information, a lot to take in, and information to take in the right step, I think.
So let's stay in contact.
Yes, please.
And we just, want to help anything we can help you guys with as well. And I have a member for more.
Absolutely. I love a widening table. I believe more people, more opinions, more perspectives, more lenses. So yes, as many people that can join our advisory committees and can give us additional diversified feedback, I am more than open for. But my business card is at the end. Please do reach out. Please let me know when your next event is, and I really do think sharing calendar is one of the top things that we can do. And I don't want to overload everybody, but something's happened every month in DC. There is no reason for us to not be busy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, I'm going to leave y'all to y'all legend. And the other fun stuff.
I'm going to reach out about scheduling.
That would be excellent because I would like to see that program continue. I would like to see the hiring freeze end. And I also believe scheduling really does need a mentoring component in addition to that.
Absolutely.
Even if it's just peer-to-peer mentoring. That's what I was pushing for.
I'll be in touch.
All right. Super cool. Nice meeting everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So next on our agenda is I need Donald back, but it's the ethics training that we have to go through. It's being set up by the district. So that's just get the update info on that. So.
Who's working on the bylaws right now?
Well, so.
Sorry.
So, he took Maggie's place, right? So I've been communicating with him. I sent him for the last version that she had worked on.
Okay.
So we need to make that decision today. I always like having an attorney involved, so I've sort of asked him to hopefully lead it, but we'll we need to do that. I mean, she had some good beginning work on it, but didn't make it too far before she found the attorney. Subsequently, we'll have to for that. But so what do you all think about doing some I won't say more, I haven't really done a lot, some outreach like that. I mean, I really like.
Have we done any in the past?
No, because it's never really, maybe it's the lack of thought on our side, but it was never really expressed.
What would be our goal?
Well, I think membership, I think also expose the fact that people in the district with disabilities are looking for work. They bring talent to the table, because obviously, I mean, it's means like Rotary. I'm going to the meeting to talk about certain things, but in the room are employers. I mean, they're not there at that capacity, but they have the ability. Same thing, you go to a gay pride event or whatever you go to, or ethnic event. There's people there who own businesses who are hiring managers within businesses.
Right. I also and she touched on the idea of accessibility at these events, and that's a big thing that people don't talk about. And a lot of times builders will walk around, just kind of like, okay, we're not going to worry about the accessibility of our facility right now. We're going to wait till somebody asks. And then when you ask, then it becomes a multi-million-dollar expense.
Yes.
So that's also something to talk about.
Yep.
I like it.
All right. So you want to talk about the ethics training?
Oh, sure. So, got an email and reportedly, supposedly that we're supposed to, SRC members, commission and all council members are supposed to have ethics training on an annual basis. So I was thinking, how can we work smart and not hard to make that happen for our members? So I reached out to a colleague here who also participates as a liaison for Silk. And we're trying to schedule with Vega a joint training, hopefully here for Silk and SRC members to come to receive their annual ethics training. We're looking in the month of July. That's really depending on what dates are available for someone from Vega to come here to actually, administer the training. But we figured that would be the most effective way to, cast a wide net and make sure everyone gets the training they need to get, if that's okay with the SRC and Silk members, of course. So we'll be reaching out to them, and hopefully we'll have some dates to throw around for July. And just about SRC website, talked to Jonathan, and he was okay with us transitioning SRC's website back to ddsdc.gov. With that being said, we'll also have the minutes there, the meeting minutes, and we also found out that actually our recordings can suffice as far as meeting minutes. We don't have to have the meeting minutes and write it back. So that will work. We'll host the recordings there as well as the SRC annual reports, any other work that comes from there. I'll be the point of contact. We can exchange the information you wish to have hosted on that page, and our IT can put it up. There shouldn't be any barriers or problems with that, as well as the schedule for the SRC meetings and things of that nature. I'm really happy because poor Teresa Peel, if you recall, used to be in these meetings with her hand on fire and have to take, medication after the meeting because she's just trying to write the notes. So you should have saw her face when I told her that. So too bad she couldn't benefit from that, but I am. So and I'm very happy. So that's just a little bit of information about that. And trying to think, I'm turning back over to you as far as the initiatives with the jobs and training.
Okay, great. And by the way, is this being recorded for the phone today?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got this a couple things have happened with my work as relates to providing opportunities for people in DC. And I sort of had this bold vision that I think could benefit DDS. I think it could benefit the city possibly if we have enough people working together. And this all started by one of the strategic initiatives I have for the year on the national level to really support our chapters around the DMV area. So, up in Montgomery County, PG County, here in DC and Northern Virginia, trying to find a way how we can all collaborate to really create a talent pool, people with individuals going into the workforce, but also work together to support businesses. And then through that, I've had a series of meetings here in DC with the National Restaurant Association and the American Hotel and Lodging Association. Both are housed one's on I Street, one's on L Street, so they're really near my office. And they both have a lot of current initiatives around training and supporting their members, which are restaurants and hotels and everything in between, to fill these talent gaps that are happening. DC has approximately 22 million visitors annually come through the city, and there's well over 100 and some, almost 200,000 jobs relating to these fields that need to be constantly filled, or people need to be working. And so both of these associations are really wanting to work with the disability community in DC. And so we're starting an initiative with each one, and each one has industry certified training that they're just going to basically give to me, each one out of our DC chapter. And I want to share the wealth. I want to make sure other organizations get it. I want to make sure their folks can be trained in this. But at the end of the day, it's also about marketing, communicating this to the public. This is available. This will be available in the months to come. We need people going, the RSA Council needs to be referring people to these opportunities. And then also working together collaboratively to fill the jobs. That's the most important part. When I talk to employers, they want to hire, but they don't have 2-3 weeks a month for us to get our act together to bring somebody over there that fits the job description. They need it now. And so one agency or one organization can't do that because we need to put the right person in the right job. So how do we work together to make that happen? And what I'd like to see, and this is sort of where the bold vision comes in, is, and I think DC is a very disability-friendly place, but I think we can market ourselves to this. If we really get employers to commit to this hiring on this level through these two very large organizations, can you imagine, EDS and just the city and the district itself saying, like, look, we are a disability-friendly community when it comes to employing people. And that people with disabilities are actually helping us run our city in all facets, all kinds of jobs, not just one particular industry or government agency, but across. And I think that could be a model. I'm really thinking really far out there, a couple years from now. If we're really able to promote that will really put us on the map. Other cities might come and say, hey, tell us how you've done this. But I think it only happens through these collaborations with these associations and with these bigger organizations that can really have influence on employers in our region. And so I really like, RSA to be a part of it, or SRC to be a part of this, as far as, getting the word out to the community about this and getting people going through the trainings. I think it would be really great.
Any input internally, I guess, from RSA, how we can kind of bridge this gap and really get the word out? Or
we have business relations specialists that could work with us on that. Sylvia, Charles Bailey, who currently works with her counterpart in DCHR, and actually just on yesterday, on the 11th, they had a job fair here. So I think it would be interesting for us to have her in the mix to be able to support the
What's her name again?
Sylvia Bailey Charles. It's a hyphenated.
I can forward you the information.
And she has a database of employers that she works with. Just at the job fair on the 11th, Amazon was here. They had Secret Service here. They had Pepco here. They had about 13 major employers that were here. And in addition to that, we have 4 other employment coordinators that work with her as well. So I think we'd really be on board with helping that. That's great.
Getting those stories out. I mean, any company, especially any company RSA is working with too. I mean, the fact that we're doing this big project now with Sodexo here in the district, and we're at 3 locations right now. We're at National Geographic, we're at Fannie Mae, which is on L and 16, I can't remember, but and then we're at a 3rd location, and we've written up these really great stories for ourselves. You know, I think, and I'm getting Sodexo to promote this. You want the business to promote this as well through their networks, through their social media. I think it's important. RSA has put a lot of people on a lot of great jobs. We need to let the world know about it. And wow, you know, my team, I got a great writer on my team. If I could help in any way, write up stories that for you all. I'm glad to do that. You know, but I think we need to start promoting ourselves. And I know, and I think I got a little bit excited because I went to the meeting last week, was it, about helping develop a new tagline. And, you know, I think that's a step in the right direction in some ways. I think it's about telling our story, RSA, telling their story. And it's hard to, you know, hearing her, all the work she's doing, that's great. But the big issue I see too is each group's trying to do the things separately, and then we're drowning each other out.
Right.
And I think it's hard. We need to, you know, really RSA maybe, or DDS, you know, maybe is the bulkhead. You know, everything else is supporting this effort in a way, right? But we need to be unified in our voices. If we're not, we're all just sort of speaking separately, and we're diffuse, and nobody knows which way to go.
We don't have an impact.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. I think that's a great idea. I just want to loop back, if I could, to outreach and recruitment. So, again, I'm excited that we potentially have 5 new members coming down the pipeline. Where I think we really need to focus our concentration with recruiting new members is, of course, first, mostly important is people with disabilities. We need to have more voices in here from people with disabilities or family members. And also, what's continuing to prove to be a challenge is recruiting new members from the business industry. Why that's being a challenge is because, you know, MODA's really big on participants in the council being being actual district residents. So a lot of the businesses ran here that hire people with disabilities or are interested in hiring people with disabilities, they don't reside in the district. So that's been the challenge. So I attended Bite Back actually had a work session where they had employers there at the work session, and there's really a dialogue to look at what are you looking for to hire, you know, people with disabilities, and it focused on clearances and things of that nature as well. But with that was kind of a gold mine because they had a list of employers, so in the district that either signed up to come or were actually physically there. So maybe that's a pocket we can reach out to and see if they would be interested in becoming a member of the SRC as well.
At the last meetings, we have one of the things I promised to do was to recruit some people, and I have been going around the communities and trying to find people. And the next plan I have is to go to the Office on African Affairs at the Commission meeting, which will usually convey on the second week of the month. So I'm planning to go there and just talk about that we exist
Great.
A lot of people don't even know when I talk to them that even exists. So I have been working on that slowly but surely.
And I have received a list from my colleague Emily Price that I've continued to revisit and try to reach some of those contacts. And it's very hard to get the family members to pick up the phone, so emailing constantly and trying to call until someone does from that list as well. And I'll probably ask her to, send out the blurb about SRC again at some of her meetings, stakeholder meetings, so we can have another list, fresh list. Yeah.
Another thing may be a good, just another thing about how we get more business represented here. And I think, this is just a hunch, I may be wrong, but you go into any of these businesses and you're right, the people who are senior level generally who might work in a business in DC, they may live in Montgomery County, they may live in Virginia, who knows. This is a great opportunity for professional development for a younger or mid-level staff person who probably does live in the district. They're probably wanting to be in the city. They're young, the restaurant, bar scene, so they're living here. They work for this place, this company. This is an opportunity for them to come in and contribute and also get some professional development to something, for their resume. You have to look at it like that too. Is how we sell the idea of being on this on the SRC is something that's. I think a lot of time we focus on what can people give us, but it's also what can we give. It's always should be what are we giving to people who come in the door.
Definitely. I've reached out to people to the listserv for Miles on the Hill, which it's just, it sounds trite, but it's actually, everybody on Capitol Hill is on this listserv, and a lot of business owners, a lot of small business owners. I'm hoping that we'll be able to generate a lot of people that are coming back to the workforce, hoping that will be some interest there.
All right. Well, I guess we'll move on to the RSA side of things. Taylor, did you want to brief everyone on what just occurred with the RSA monitoring, what it was, and next steps?
Can we skip over the bylaws?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I have a hot second for that. I've been talking with our hopefully newest member here soon, because he has taken over Maggie's spot, and Maggie's working on this. So what we need to do is have some people commit to being part of this committee so it was Maggie and I essentially. I think Cheryl Beal was supporting us as well. We went through the first round of trying to get this done. So basically what we're trying to do, the SRC bylaws are fairly old. And so we were going through and picking them apart, seeing what was relevant, what needs to change to fit the current time, what needs to be added, anything sort of missing regarding our work and what our purpose is. So we need a committee to do this. So we really like to get this done, in the next 3 to 4 months. This is not a super heavy lift, but it will take some time and it takes some effort to read through the bylaws. Do we have any people who are interested in serving on this committee?
I'd do it also because, just as you said, I'm happy to be there.
You be the lead on it? All right. So we got the interning. That's the most important.
Are we talking about, and apologies for not being super familiar with this, are we talking about like a complete rewrite of these things, or would it be benefit from like learning more about what other places have done with SRCs and figuring that out?
That's great.
Because there are obviously 53 of these things or whatever, and I could reach out to people.
I think that'd be great. And I think we did a little bit of that last year. I think that would be a good place to start. It's not a total rewrite, but I think the first step is to go through the draft, see what edits need to be made to the current language.
Is that to get it in sync with some type of regulation, something, or is it just sort of sharpening it up and making it more effective what the organization actually does and also what we want to do?
Yes, yes, the latter. And then I think if we get through the edits of what's currently in there, we can go back and say, okay, what holes are there? What do we need to fill that's not being represented in the bylaws anyway, or want to do in the future. All right, I need to see at least one more hand. I'm going to be on the committee, but can't.
Nobody else wants to.
All right, great. We got 3 people. All right.
Go for it, Taylor.
All right. So I'll just give a general update, and then if there's more information that's needed, feel free to ask. But RSA went through a monitoring process with the Department of Education in April. Yeah. April. Okay. Sorry, it's all been moving so fast. So the next steps are that we did have to provide some additional documentation for follow-up for their review post-monitoring. The next steps are that we would receive a draft report on what their observations were, and it would also note any next steps if there are any areas for which we would have corrective action for any findings. We have not received that report yet. And that's kind of where we are. So I think going into it, we were prepared, had an idea of maybe some areas that we would need to improve on. We have a lot of things in the past year that we've been working on putting in place, and the monitoring was particularly for program year 17. So a lot of things are in process moving forward. But as far as acting on the monitoring, we are waiting on the draft report.
And that's coming from?
Department of Education. So my understanding is that they would create a draft of their concerns, what they found in each of the areas is identified in the technical assistance guide we all received. And then we have also input into the draft report. If we agree, if we disagree with any of the information in the report, we can provide a response with justification so that when it comes down to the final report, we have some understanding of what will be in it.
Most of their focus, let me know if you don't want to talk about this, most of their focus on like transition age stuff because the Department of Education, is that like what they were focused on, or were they under everything?
So there were different areas. There were a few focus areas. They looked at fiscal part of the VR program. They looked at transition, particularly pre-employment transition services. They also looked at general VR and supported employment and contracts. That was part of fiscal. Those are the main areas.
Performance, because of the WIOA measures that they specifically were interested in.
And then the WIOA collaboration with working with our outside partners like the Workforce Investment Council, Department of Employment Services. So all aspects really of the vocational rehab program.
And they have on the Department of Education's website, they have a technical assistance guide that basically goes over what questions were asked during the monitoring and what they specifically were looking at. That might fill in the details more.
Other questions?
Any other questions about monitoring?
All right. Chris, you're up. We'll move to the budget detail report.
Good morning, everyone, again. As with the previous meetings, I'm just going to recap some of the brief budget movements that have been happening. One point out before we get started, this is as of 4:30, so keep in mind that some things can change, and I'll try to highlight that information as we go along. This is the big picture of in general, our various grants that are afforded to us, everything from our local district funds to our federal grant amounts, as well as our carryover amounts. Our overall budget that is given to us, where we are with our expenditures, where we are with our obligation and our usage amounts, which gives us our income balance. This is a general snapshot of our overall budget. If you look at it, if you have a comparison, if you look at our sorry. if you look at our previous report and this month's report, you can see there is a lot of movements in the expenditures as well as some increases for our budget, mainly with the supported employment grant for 9-2, which is now in our accounts. So that's basically 150 for youth and 150 for adults. That was a significant increase that we're now working towards allocations. Go to the next slide. I've broken this down into specific categories that we work with. What's most important for this meeting is the category 50, which is direct services to our clients. That's pretty much what we put out as an agency that directly impacts our clients and the work that we do with our clients. As you can see, we have about 13 million, and the various expenditures related to that, about 3 million left to spend for the rest of the fiscal year. We seem to be on track with that. Our expenditures are a little slow this year, but based on discussions with programs and various operations discussions, we should be on track to make sure we're zeroed out for the year.
What's line 40 overspent? Does that include?
It's not really overspent. It's funds that will be moved over to that. There was a conference that happened. I forget which conference, but we just needed money to cover for that conference. So we will just be using. It was for our consumers, but because it's for School Talk, it was for our consumers, but because it was a conference, it has to be pulled from that particular category. So it will be a journal entry, but I'm sure it's happened by now already. To balance that out. And then if we go to the last slide, this again focuses on expenditures, but it specifically relates to the pre-ETS funds. So pretty much the top section is pre-ETS and the bottom section is general PR funds. The main focus on that is making sure we spend our allocated amounts for the federal requirements, which is 15% for our carryover funds from last year as well as our current year funds. The main focus is to finish out our carryover funds, because that's what we have to report on, because we have 2 years to spend the grant. So we're focusing on making sure that all of our 82 funds are fully exhausted with regards to the 15% requirement. And if there's any leftover money, we'll then switch to the 82 grant and start focusing. Switch to the 92 grant and start focusing on those expenditures. Overall, we seem to be on track. We're working with programs to make sure that our obligations that we're committed to do come through as full expenditures. And I'm told that in summertime, there's a lot of the wrapping up of activity. So we should see a lot of this start to come through in the next couple of weeks and the next couple of months. So that's what I had. If anyone has any specific questions.
This is going to be an extraordinarily stupid question. Fiscal year ends in the end of September?
Correct. Okay. Yeah. And it starts October 1st. We follow the Fed. Okay.
We fight with it too. It's okay. Program year, fiscal year.
No stupid questions.
Good question.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
All right. Oh, it's me. So next on the agenda, I just want to put this on here is NASD's. I had the opportunity to go there last week in Seattle. The focus of NASD's annual conference is where all the directors from disability services come to meet and talk about some of the great work they're doing, information sharing amongst directors and new strategies and best practices. The focus was on technology. So I have internally also been tasked with leading the Technology First work group here in DDS. In a nutshell, that's really us looking at how can we always consider what role technology can play in any challenges someone is experiencing, any vision or goal they're trying to achieve. What role can they play in that? And most importantly, we're focusing on supportive technology, which is assistive technology and remote supports. And how do we move forward in the future of making that readily available to the people we support? It was a very, it was a lot of information about what other states are doing. In particular, Ohio's really leading the nation along with Connecticut and Wisconsin and Missouri. So we have a lot to learn from, some states to learn from what they've done in their journey thus far to become technology first states and how they support people with disabilities. I'll be moving forward with creating the work group and with our state selected stakeholders and really thinking about, what's the current state we're in and how do we move to the future state to really make this accessible to people with disabilities. That can go down from what needs to be changed in some of our, for example, our waiver program or even on the RSA side to make this more, readily available. And also, most importantly, we have to start from the ground up. And what I mean by that is we have to increase awareness from our stakeholders, in particular with the people we support and their family members. Just going from the NASD's conference out and learning from the states, it really starts with, kind of breaking down those anxieties that may come from, for example, technology taking the place of physical supports that are there and the physical supports being virtual. And what does that look like? And them having hands-on experience to make an informed decision if this is best for them to move forward with. So, it was a great conference to see where we're going in the industry as far as how we support people with disabilities. So as we start to build a framework for the work group, this is very early on the stages. In the early stages, I will definitely continue to share information with the SRC, and when we have agendas that I think speak to the SRC, I'll invite members to come attend as well. And I just want to move on to old business. I spoke to our policy analysts here at DVS. As you know, as far as with RSA, any policies, SRC is supposed to give feedback to any policies that go in place. So coming down the pipeline is the provider performance review policy. They're kind of pulling from the policy that exists for DDA providers and building from there. Of course, there may be some unique things in the policy for RSA vendors that may be unique to them. But building it from there, it is on quite a fast track. And right now it's going through the channels internally with a goal of having it actually completed and implemented by the start of October 1st, 2019. We're hoping to get SRC involved late June with the review and feedback of that policy. Similar to what I'm trying to do with the ethics training, I think they're really looking at to, assist with fast tracking and ensuring that SRC provides the feedback is actually having a joint meeting with HCBS advisory group and SRC members, maybe a joint session where we can work together and go through and get feedback and discuss that.
Okay. That's a little different than the past.
Yeah. So how has it been done?
You basically get it first with the policy, and then we go through, mock it up with our comments and suggestions, and then give back to them, and they then consider where our suggestions are, and they get back to us and say, okay, thanks for these changes, not this.
And I think that's in the public hearing as well. And I'm sorry, the public hearing follows that, and that is here too. I'm just looking at the bullet points. But I think that may be open for discussion. The only reason I think this was proposed is because of the fast track it's on. And, that may be more streamlined process this time around. Yeah.
I think once we get it in time to review it before we go into the meeting.
Okay. So you're not going in cold and trying to review at the same time and get feedback.
Yeah.
Right. No one wants to do that. Well, I think that was really it on the agenda. And one other thing is that usually we do go over the state plan progress that the agency's making towards those goals that are in the state plan. We held off on, we wanted to table that until the following SRC meeting because it aligns with the revamp of that website, number one, where it will be hosted. And also, we wanted to follow through with the request for us to prioritize some of this. It's a lengthy document, so prioritizing and what are the goals that are priority to us. And then we can discuss and continue the feedback and be ready for the next meeting.
And a note on that, so that's through the end, that's program year.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
that's July through June. So when we review it, it'll be through the year end for program year.
Thank you. I believe that part. So is there any other comments or that?
Nice job, Doc.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying.
You've been very communicative. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, it's a great group to work with and it's very open, so it's easy to do. Thank you.
We are just, assistive technology. The RTC is piloting right now White Sherpa, which is a app-based program to support job coaches to support people remotely in the workplace, not having to be there. So, as Donald moves forward running, overseeing this new tech first work group, I will make sure he gets updates on how that's going with our clients and if it's being successful. We're also watching for the PG County as well with our chapter up there. I think it has a lot of merit to support. Not everybody needs a job coach on site all the time, and there's a due diligence in understanding which clients do, which clients don't. This is a way for job coaches to increase their capacity, and we want to get that feedback back to you all because maybe that's something on both sides, both on the waiver side here and for you on RSA, maybe that's not a tool that maybe in the future you would want to utilize as well.
And just to add on to that, I do have it on my bucket list once we get the agenda for the work group. What I want to happen is some actual vendors who, specialize in this technology, maybe to come in, enhance awareness about these different options. So I would like to connect with you to make sure Sherpa is there. Yep.
Thank you, Donald. He is on it.
Trying.
So, we're meeting quarterly, so our next meeting is not until September. So what I will do, and I apologize, I've not been as communicative on my end with the group. I've been swamped, but I want to start sending out some more emails, and I implore you all to keep reaching out to find new members for us. But also, I think there's some work we can do on attending some events around DC, employer outreach, things of that nature. So I don't want us to be static and they come every 3 months and meet and get an update from Donald on how great things are going here and then we report it. He has better, I'm sure he has a lot of things he needs to be doing today besides just telling us his work. So we need to be reporting back to these guys on what we're doing too.
Do we have a budget to do those events? A lot of times they might be a nominal fee.
It's a great question. We do. Our SRC does have a budget, and I don't know. It sounds awful, but I don't know specific.
I feel like I've seen it too.
Yeah, I don't know if it's. I mean, I think we've got money to do some of these things if they're nominal fees, but.
Yeah, I'm thinking like the cost of like a table rental or something like that.
Most of I think the cost that we had in here was for communications and like we used to have food at these meetings. I think was charged that line item that's not, but it was very, very small budget just for very basic things. But if there's probably enough in there we want to go and need $10 for a table or something, we can probably handle that. But
That's something. It could be interesting to do some of those events.
Could be. We should have our calendarize it somehow too and say, here are the events.
Don't we have a calendar that we'll have on our website?
Yeah, definitely have a calendar on there.
There's a calendar on there, but we need to put, okay, here are the events in the month of July, and seeing anybody.
Potential opportunities, and then seeing if we can get people to snap.
Yeah. Any other business? We have a motion to close the meeting for today.
Motion for that.
We have a second. All right. Nobody wants, we can stay here all day. Meeting adjourned.
Next September, hopefully.
I know, right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.